1942, the Caribbean Sea looked calm and peaceful on the surface, but beneath those turquoise waters, a deadly war was already underway. German U-boats were silently hunting Allied ships across the region. Oil tankers and cargo ships vanished into the ocean without warning. Every convoy crossing the Caribbean risked complete destruction. Fear spread across the Allied shipping routes day and night. By the summer of 1942, dozens of merchant ships had already been sunk. German submarines dominated the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. The Allies desperately needed a way to stop the attacks. Oil shipments from South America were critical for the Allied war effort. Without fuel, warships, aircraft, and factories could not operate properly. Protecting those shipments became a top military priority. The Royal Canadian Navy deployed escort warships into the Caribbean Sea. Their mission was simple: protect the convoys at all costs. Among those warships was the Canadian corvette HMCS Oakville. Convoy TAW-15 carried valuable tankers and cargo ships northward. American destroyers and Canadian escorts guarded the convoy closely. Everyone on board knew German wolfpacks could strike at any moment. Hidden somewhere nearby, the German submarine U-94 waited silently. Its commander, Lieutenant Otto Eetz, searched for the perfect opportunity. He noticed increased Allied air patrols above the region. To the experienced U-boat commander, it meant only one thing. A major Allied convoy was approaching through the Caribbean. Instead of retreating, he prepared his submarine for attack. On the night of August 27th, U-94 moved into position. Another German submarine joined the operation nearby in the darkness. The ocean remained silent as the ambush began. U-94 slipped carefully between the Allied escort ships, the submarine prepared to fire its deadly torpedoes. But before the attack could begin, disaster suddenly struck. A U.S. Navy Catalina patrol aircraft spotted the submarine from above. Within seconds, powerful depth charges crashed into the sea. Massive underwater explosions erupted around U-94 instantly. The violent blasts shook the submarine from every direction. Critical systems inside the U-boat suffered severe damage. The attack forced the Germans into a desperate fight for survival. Aboard HMCS Oakville, sailors saw giant pillars of water rising skyward. Captain Clarence King immediately ordered battle stations. Sirens echoed across the Canadian warship in the darkness. Crew members rushed across the deck, preparing weapons and equipment. Everyone knew a major confrontation was about to happen. The damaged submarine was somewhere nearby beneath the waves. Below deck, Sub-Lieutenant Hal Lawrence awoke to emergency alarms. He rushed toward the surface wearing only a pair of shorts. The battle had already begun before he reached the deck. Using powerful searchlights, Oakville scanned the dark ocean carefully. Moments later, the damaged U-94 surfaced nearby in the water. The battle instantly became a brutal close-range encounter. Captain King ordered Oakville to ram the enemy submarine directly. The Canadian corvette surged forward through the rough waves, but at the last second, U-94 narrowly avoided collision. Oakville immediately opened fire with its heavy guns. Explosive shells slammed directly into the submarine's conning tower. Flames and debris erupted into the night sky. The submarine's deck gun was completely destroyed during the attack. German sailors struggled desperately to regain control of their vessel. The damaged U-boat began losing its ability to fight back. As Oakville passed dangerously close beside the submarine, chaos erupted. Canadian sailors hurled bottles and debris onto the enemy deck. The battle turned savage at point-blank range. Then Oakville launched another devastating depth charge attack. Massive explosions erupted directly beneath the German submarine. U-94 became crippled and nearly defenseless in the water. Captain King prepared for one final ramming attempt. This time, Oakville slammed directly into the submarine near the tower. The impact shook both vessels violently, but the collision badly damaged Oakville as well. The Canadian warship's engines began failing almost immediately. The ship slowly lost maneuverability in the rough sea. Captain King realized the submarine was still floating beside them. He made an incredibly dangerous decision in the middle of battle. He ordered a boarding party onto the enemy U-boat. 12 Canadian sailors grabbed pistols, grenades, and flashlights quickly. Steel helmets covered their heads as they prepared to jump. The operation would require extreme courage to survive. Suddenly, Oakville's jam deck gun fired by accident. The massive blast threw several sailors violently across the deck. Many men were injured instantly by the explosion. Despite bleeding ears and severe shock, Hal Lawrence refused to stop. Petty Officer Art Powell stood beside him through the chaos. Together, the two sailors prepared to board the submarine alone. As Oakville drifted beside the U-boat, the moment arrived. Lawrence and Powell leaped nearly 10 feet onto the submarine's deck. Huge waves crashed violently around them during the jump. The sea was extremely rough and dangerous. The two Canadians struggled desperately to keep their balance. One wrong step could send them into the ocean forever. A powerful wave suddenly swept Lawrence toward the edge of the deck. For a terrifying moment, he nearly disappeared into the sea. Powell grabbed him just in time and pulled him back safely. Oakville's machine guns opened fire to protect the boarding party. Bullets slammed into the submarine's shattered conning tower continuously. German sailors were pinned down by the heavy gunfire. Lawrence and Powell slowly advanced toward the submarine hatch. Broken glass covered the deck around their bare feet. Terrified German crewmen began emerging from inside the vessel. The Canadians aimed pistols directly at the hatch opening. Some German sailors jumped into the ocean instead of fighting. Others retreated back into the submarine below deck. Slowly, the two Canadians gained control of the damaged U-boat. Then Hal Lawrence made an even more dangerous decision. He climbed alone into the sinking submarine's dark interior. Inside the flooded hull, seawater rushed through damaged compartments rapidly. Metal creaked loudly as the submarine slowly died around him. Using only a flashlight, Lawrence searched for intelligence documents. The water kept rising higher inside the submarine. Outside, Powell shouted desperately for Lawrence to escape immediately. The U-boat could sink at any second. Finally, Lawrence climbed back onto the deck, carrying recovered materials. The submarine was now moments away from disappearing underwater. There was almost no time left to escape. Hal Lawrence jumped into the sea at the last possible second. Seconds later, U-94 vanished beneath the Caribbean forever. The deadly battle was finally over. Far away in the darkness, another German submarine attacked the convoy. 2 Allied tankers were sunk before the U-boat escaped unseen. The war in the Caribbean continued relentlessly. Canadian sailors and captured German crewmen were later rescued safely. HMCS Oakville, heavily damaged during the battle, was towed away. But the daring boarding action became legendary in naval history.